Friends and neighbors, it's almost here. This Q&A. Next week, we're going to be talking about draft selection. We might even be talking about a trade. You never know. This Q&A is for you guys tonight. Dan and I are going to go through all of your questions, where we are in the process right now as the Chiefs start some interesting practices down in Texas. I'm sure you'll have some questions about that. Let's get after it. Welcome to RGR Football. Welcome back, everybody. This is RGR Football. I'm Ryan Tracy. This is what we do this time of year. He's Dan Harms. We just put out a draft guide. You might have heard of it. I'm not sure. If you haven't, you should go check the website because I think you will enjoy it. It's right over here. It's the same address. It's the same code that you had for the Athletic Matrix. But this is our draft guide together with EJ Holt, our newest member, who hopefully will get a time to let you meet here in the near vicinity. We did film grades on all the positions, at least the top 10, generally the top 15. And then some positions like O-lineman we had to go farther than that because there's too many offensive linemen. Yep. It combines with all the production grades, all my bear rates, my hawk rates, the Eagle metric, which is the best thing for a DB because it covers everything they do deep down the field all the way up to the line of scrimmage and beyond. So you want to see that. That's all wrapped up into the draft guide that you can get right now. Use that code RGR22AM. I see a lot of people buying it without using the code. You guys use the code. It's okay. Don't feel guilty. A lot of people are like, well, I want to pay the whole thing. Don't. Use the code.
It's what it's for.
Exactly. You guys support us enough. We want to make sure that we support you. Not going to dwell too much on the thumbnail tonight because I know there's a ton of questions and we're going to get into them. There's already super chats in the house. Brian, thank you.
Thank you, Brian.
To start it all off. If you want to support the channel on the live streams, that's the way to do it. You can also go in and grab some gear in the RGR store as well. That's at the bottom and in the description of every show. That and the draft guide are the things that we do the most right now. So thank you, Brian. And folks, if you do want to super chat us tonight, very much appreciate it. I guarantee you will answer every super chat tonight, but please ask a question or leave a comment. Let me get you something for it. And if you don't want to hear from me at all and you just want Dan, just say that. That's perfectly fine. I'll go get a beer. It's all right. But Brian, thank you for that. We're going to start with Cole. What does Cole have? Just saw a video on Chat Sports.
He put in quotes. Okay. He put in quotes. Take it for what it's worth.
I know. And I'm glad that you admit that, Cole, because you large grain salt. It's a block. Pointed out the Bleacher Report thought that Jadavian Clowney was a good fit for the Chiefs in their eyes. Yeah, if you want an unproductive guy that plays the run, sure. His name's Frank Clark. You already got him.
I mean, I think that Jadavian's a better run defender, if we're being honest with ourselves.
You're probably right. He gives you 0 against the pass. 0.
Well, that's not entirely accurate. Last year, he did have 9 sacks. He did have 9 sacks last year. Yeah, he gives you more than Frank does.
No, I get that. But I'm saying, like, that was one fluke season. Compared to Frank, generally in and out, you're talking about a downgrade again at what? Does he get $10 million a season this year? I don't know. It's going to be a 1-year deal, right?
Yeah, it has to be. There's no way around it anymore. He's only getting 1-year deals.
So to answer you, Cole, the RGR opinion, that I'm not speaking for Dan, but the RGR opinion on the Bleacher Report by way of Chat Sports is, I don't think he's a fit. No, I think he's a waste of money. That's about all I got. Dan is much more optimistic because he's a better person than I am.
It's not even so much that I'm optimistic. I'm like, what do we have again alongside Frank Clark? A bag of chips? Okay, I think he's probably marginally better than that.
So at this point, chips are worth it. I'm with you. I'm getting it. Scott, let's see. Cole, with which pick is KC not have on draft pick? That's a good question, Dan. What do you think? Which one do you think they get out of?
I think they're going to get out of 30.
Yeah.
I think they're going to keep 29 and 30 and figure out up or down with 30.
What up, Chris? I think they get out of both of them. FLDB with COVID kind of on the slowdown. What about an RGR get together during training camp? Yeah, I would love to do that. In fact, I'm working on a deal with somebody with a business that's local, a chain of businesses that's local, maybe for draft. That if you guys want to go somewhere and watch either the RGR feed or the Locked On feed that I'll be on. Like you can put them side by side in an establishment. I'm trying to work that out. If it doesn't work out for the draft, we'll try to do it for camp, and we will get there because I think a lot of folks have been waiting on that one. And we got to get ready for next year when the draft is in, Casey.
Oh, yes.
My wife doesn't know yet, but I'm relocating temporarily. Come to think of it, I don't think my brother knows it yet either.
I'm not sure my wife does either. So
great idea, FLDB. Thank you. Ross, thank you. Could we see the Chiefs trading Chris Jones sooner than later? Rock Talk Jayhawk. I like the Jayhawk part. I don't think so. He would have to have not only a down season, but he would have to become somebody that they can't hang their head on in terms of bringing along the defense. I could see them trying to do like a restructure and extension, though.
Yeah.
Dan, can you see that?
That's what I think you have to do. You can't. Your defensive line is already nothing. You can't just say, "Hey, Chris, you've been great for us. We want to keep you in Kansas City, but we're going to go ahead and just get rid of all of our defensive players on the front and hope that the guys that we bring in are good." Chris Jones is what you got. There's nobody else on that defensive line right now that's worth their salt.
Yeah,
with their contract. Chris Jones is, regardless of some of the issues that we've seen in terms of maybe not getting home all the time, letting guys slip through his fingers at time to time. The guy makes more plays than he doesn't. We'll just say that.
Okay. I like it. Before we get too deep, I want to give a shout out to Max Carnage, you guys. You've seen him in the chat. I hope he's in the chat right now because he started a new channel here on YouTube where he's going to do reviews for jerseys and things like that. He's got a cool business going. You guys want to check him out. He is our number 9 subscriber on this channel. That's how long he's been here. The OGs for real showing up. So check out Max Carnage. He should be in the chat as well. I, of course, am behind the chat. So what do I know? So would you take Bartimus's and I'll try to get caught up?
What's up, Bartimus? Would you rather double dip at edge in the first 2 picks, Mafe and Ojabo, or double dip at wide receiver? Kind of like what happened with the mock, a locked on mock. So with the first 2 picks, I don't think I'm double dipping anywhere. Typically, because the value is not going to be there. With Mafe and Ojabo, I think that right now I'm seeing Mafe fall down boards personally, and you're still talking about a value. So if you're double dipping at defensive end with Mafe and Ojabo, you're getting 1 player because Ojabo's not going to play until next year. So again, you have to be comfortable with that reality, which I mean I am, but I would also want to get value. Like in my first 2 picks, if we're staying at 29 and 30, it makes sense for me to get an edge that's going to either play or devote to next year, and then also get a receiver or somebody else that can play this year, and not just have to hope you can get somebody in the 2nd round or in the 3rd round.
Agreed. Want to say shout out to everybody down under, everybody over in Europe. I'm seeing a lot of folks from other countries. Welcome. Glad you made it. I know it's different to be on in your time zone versus ours, but hey, cheers and glad you guys are here. Let's see, we got Brian's, we got Bartimus, we got Coles. Let's see, Big Dave, what do you got? You said one time the Chiefs needed a pass rushing DT. Could our run defending DTs be improved upon, maybe with more length and sand in the pants? I don't think you're going to find more sand than Derek Nottie. I mean,
you can, but we're talking about no, probably like
who?
Guys
Corey Legent
later. But
right.
Like if the plan for the Chiefs is to move on from Derek Nottie eventually, not this year because they did re-sign him.
Yep.
Tomorrow's video is going to have a couple guys in the later rounds that the Chiefs could be targeting at defensive tackle. just a little thing for you guys.
I like the way you think. His name is Josh Paschal. He's not an edge. He's an explosive.
He's also a day 2 player.
Yeah, I know. I'm just saying he's an explosive 3 tech that I really like, and everyone seems to want to peg him in the edge group. He's not for me. Oh, but at the end of the day, I think even if it's a day 3 pick, I think you still want somebody with at least the prospect of pass rush from the DT spot, because we've seen them be successful while allowing all kinds of run yardage over the last couple of years. And I think the league is only going that way more. So as much as I want somebody who can crush the run, I need a penetrating 3 tech that can get after the quarterback and help Chris Jones out.
I got one of those for you lined up. So
I like it. That's good timing, my friend. Scott, what's one not so well-known story you can share about Dan?
Do we even have any of these?
I don't know. See, Dan and I have not hung out in person yet. That's
Yeah,
the
no, we
funniest
never
thing that
have.
you guys
Like,
don't know.
It's probably it. Like,
right?
I've actually hung out with Ryan's brother more than
Right.
I have Ryan. How
Right,
about that?
right.
That's an interesting thing.
That's a very good point. We will remedy that, I promise.
Yes, we will.
My brother still lives in Kansas City. It's a little easier, folks. So yeah. So there, Scott. There's something you didn't know. I don't know if that's what you were looking for, but that's what I got. So, Sean, in your opinion, what point do you look at a player and then draft them based off of their film and not their testing? This is the way that I see it, and I think you're going to be different, Dan. But we actually end up seeing prospects pretty similarly.
Mm-hmm.
For me, if you're spending a top 50 pick, it's got to be 80% film. And then film falls as the draft goes on for me, and athleticism takes over. But athleticism is the number 2 aspect for me all the time. And that's knowing that I'm an outside analyst. I don't get the interviews. I don't get the background and all that kind of stuff, the mental part of it, but just what we can go on. What's your philosophy?
So you're right. It definitely makes more sense later to take chances on guys with traits. It makes way more sense than to say he's this, like that's what he does, like blah 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 blah, because of his film. You have to be able to parse what you're seeing with what could be. If you can see some of the glimpses in the film, then yeah, it makes sense to take some chances on players like that. But if you're looking at a guy who tests really well, let's talk about Jelani Woods for a sample, a little bit. The dude is the most athletic tight end to ever test whatever. Who out of Virginia, 6'7", incredibly great numbers. Watch his film. The dude doesn't move. He can't move. He can't move his hips very well. He can't run routes. He can't separate. But here we are talking about a guy, because he's 6'7", and because he tested really, really well, that he's going to be going higher than he should, because he's a 50-50 ball winner. But that's it. Like, that's it. He can't do anything else. And I don't think he's going to be able to just win in the NFL because he tested well. So you have to look at the tape and say, does the traits that we're seeing in the testing, does it translate even a little bit to his film? You have to be able to find that happy medium.
There's a reason no one heard of him before the combine, folks.
Exactly. I mean, he don't get me wrong. He can block. That dude he could dominate you. Like, he can actually block some defensive ends one-on-one. Legit.
And I'm fine with him as a day 3 guy, 6th, 7th round. I'm perfectly fine with that. But I see people putting him in the 2nd round, and I'm just like,
no.
You haven't looked at all. And I freely admit, Dan did a lot of the position players this year. I didn't look at the tight ends except for 2 of them. I did not look at the tight ends because I could see what they aren't already. But I did look at him just to see, because I was excited.
Yeah, right.
And I was just like, oh, well.
It's very underwhelming film.
Oh.
It's very underwhelming.
That's all right. The athleticism gives him the potential to grow into something, much like Jody Fortson. So if you guys want to think of him as the next Jody Fortson and see what he can become. Mm-hmm. I said Fortune twice, didn't I?
I don't think so. I heard Fortson.
Okay,
Fortson.
Good. Okay, I felt bad. I've been doing that lately. Aaron, you're right. Aaron and I have spent time together at camp, so we will get that figured out, and Dan and I will hang out, and you guys will be able to hang out with us as well. Jacob, hi guys. I wonder what you think about Malcolm Rodriguez and where you think his value is. I don't see him as a take-on guy. I watched a couple of games, and I see his athleticism on film. I don't see him as a playmaker that much at the next level, but I could see as a day 3 guy, particularly somebody that fills out the linebacker group and can play teams for you. I'm happy with it. Did you watch him at all, Dan?
No, linebacker was like the very last thing that I was able to do much of. I've been more, like I said, on the positions. I'm getting to more safety now. I did some corner and I did some defensive line, but linebacker has been very, very sparse for me.
Yeah, that's okay. He is down the line, but he did come out, folks. For those of you who've seen the Matrix, he is LB1 in the athletic matrix.
Interesting.
With this newest update that should be out hopefully by the end of the week, if not on Monday. And I do have the draft guide being updated in the next day or two with some of the Drake London pieces. So there are some other things in there, but yeah, you're going to have the updates, and we'll have version 2 out soon. Second round is the sweet spot in this draft. Trade 30 and 62 to the Bears for 38, 39 and 48, and trade 29, 94 and 103 to Seattle for 40 and 41. I get where you're coming from in terms of filling out the roster. The Chiefs do have some holes, but what you've done is take yourself out of the guys that I did title the thumbnail for. You need impact guys that can walk in, hit the ground running, and make an impact. If you do that, you have severely diminished your chances at that. Yeah, in fact, if you're out of the top 20, you've probably diminished your chances at that.
Yeah, they've already done that. So we're expecting them to move up somewhere. There's rumblings that the Minnesota Vikings want to move down. We don't know how far that is. We also, I think I can approximate that Bill Belichick would be happy moving down from where he's at. I can approximate that. That seems like a Bill Belichick kind of thing. So
Dan broke out the magic 8 ball for that one.
Yeah, that was some real strings I had to pull for that one. But yeah, so there's going to be some opportunities for them to go get themselves an impact player in the first round.
I like it. And I think they move both. I don't think they want to sit there. Jared, I've been seeing a ton of people saying that we should draft Watson at 29 and Ebiketie at 30. I'm sorry, but if that happens, Veach needs to be fired. You never know. Veach will fall in love with somebody. It could be Watson. I don't think it's Ebiketie. Both of them are second-round players to me. And Ebiketie has almost as much upside in his athleticism and where he is developmentally as Watson does. They're both just raw. Ebiketie's handwork in particular drives me nuts because he'll give you one where he actually does something productive.
And then he gets stuck.
Yeah. It's like, I know you can do it. You showed me you can do it. Do it again.
That's one of the things that I illustrated. I'm like, he gets stuck a little bit. And there's nothing wrong with that. Like, I would love him at 50. I'd run up to the board. I would be like, hey, I'll go get this guy right now at 50. Like, I'll take him. But I'm not comfortable at 29 and 30. And I get it. This draft is not full of all-stars. I get it. It's not. But I'm telling you right now, there's going to be somebody at 29 and 30 that is worth a bit more of a risk there than either Watson or Ebiketie. And I think Ebiketie is much less of a risk of a player than Watson is. But again, there's going to be somebody there, Andrew Booth, that is better and that you can actually have play day one and be an impact player.
The amount of collisions for opposing wide recievers, if L'Jarius and Andrew Booth are manning the outside on this team, makes me happy. It makes me very, very, very happy. Napoleon, what are the chances the Chiefs trade up twice in the first round, say to 21 and 24? And if they do, who might they be targeting? I would posture at you, if they move up twice to 21 and 24, they screwed it up because they should have put that into one move into the teens, maybe into the 10 and get a severe talent.
Yeah, I would agree with that statement. But I think we're seeing some players moving that they didn't expect to move. I think Andrew Booth, due to some of his injuries, are starting to fall down. I think even Drake London is beginning to tumble quite a bit. We've heard more talk about Jameson Williams being the first receiver off the board, which I've told you guys for over a month now that he was probably going 10 to the Jets, but I mean, that's fine. And I think that he's someone that you could possibly target as your bona fide X receiver. That's what he is. And that's what he would be in this offense. But 24, I'm not sure who they would target. Like that's the one thing.
The only scenario that I could see that in is if they go up for get their guy.
Yeah.
And for some reason, one of their other guys falls.
Yeah.
And then maybe I could see that happening. But again, I would say that the effort to go up twice is probably not worth it unless you're going all the way up for somebody big. Gary, do they draft Cook, the running back from Georgia, in the third or the fourth round? Do I think they will? No. Is that where he probably belongs? Yes. I think that's a good grade for him. You guys saw the dang auto pick that happened yesterday. It was Cook at the end of the third. Not that mock board is always right. I'm just saying.
Yeah. Right.
That's a whole other thing that we'll talk about a whole other offseason. But yeah, I don't think the Chiefs will do that. No, I could be wrong, but if they're going to take a back, I think it'll be on day 3. And they may, if they move around enough, they could work into the 5th, 6th round and find somebody they like.
Yeah.
Pie Dessert, I think I agree with Veach's strategy, just throw bodies at corner, athletic ones. Do you agree? I don't feel the same about edge. I think the most ideal thing to do is trade up and trade back. Agreed. Although I will say, if you have good safety help, like they have tried to put on this roster, if you actually tried to put good corners on the field, all of a sudden you have a complete secondary and you're not allowing 30 points a game.
Funny enough, this is also part of my video tomorrow, having some guys on day 3 that the Chiefs probably will be targeting because of what Ryan just said. They want to have strong 3 safety sets that make the corners not have to do as much, and so that they can take guys with maybe upside or no upside on day 3 that they have that can just plug in and say, you do this, and that's all we want.
Knowing that Reed, and this will just be quick and we'll get to your question, James, I'm sorry. Knowing that Reed is going to play either a split high or possibly come down into that robber area, who's the best guy to take Dan Sorensen's role in this draft, in your opinion?
Jalen Petrie.
Okay, who's number 2?
Scene.
Oh, see, I think C can play high.
Or it's him or Hill, I think. I think they can both do it.
Because the guy that I watch and rewatch that I'm like, I want him in that role is Cook. Like the other guys, I think are more coverage based, whereas Cook, I just love what he does. He just smacks people in the face till they hurt.
I think Petrie is like for me, it's the ideal.
He's a nice blend, yeah.
In that, because he can do everything Sorensen can do in terms of playing a nickel or a dime backer. He could play anywhere out there, and he's way better than Dan Sorensen ever was in coverage.
Yeah, I was really happy with Petrie at the Senior Bowl. I will tell you guys this too. I heard something interesting the other day. Damari Mathis at his pro day was worked out as a safety a couple of times by specific scouts that I cannot confirm because I can't find that part out.
That's
but
nice.
Seeing it is much different from nickel corner to safety. And so I think he could be an interesting fit as well. And the Chiefs are known to do that. They did it with Jody Fortson. They did it with Gray, I think. Like they will ask you to do things that are specific to a different position. James, do you think the Chiefs are going to put all their eggs in McCole Hardman basket, or do they think that they'll spend a first-round pick on an impact receiver? I think they have to spend – I don't know if it'll be the first round. It depends how it falls. But I think one of the top 4 picks is going to be a receiver. But I do think that they are invested in McCole still and think that he has upside. But you got to remember, they spent money on Juju Smith-Schuster and MVS. So I think I'm scared that they think that they're set. As they've underestimated continued depth players at the wide receiver position in the last couple of years, I'm worried that they're a little bit too complacent there. So I want them to take somebody in the top 3 picks.
Yeah, I think that they most definitely will. I do think receivers are going to be in the first round because they've set themselves up for 2 years from now to be rid of MVS. Everybody.
Yeah.
Like nobody else left on the roster. I do think they plan to extend McCole Hardman. I think that is something that they kind of alluded to today in the press conferences. Andy Reid spoke as much as like they had conversations about it. I think that he's in the plans forward because realistically, he's not going to be super expensive. And if you can grow his role this year, get him in on the cheap and continue to expand his role, you'll get a guy who's in there pretty cheaply. And then also draft a receiver this year to be the guy. And that's something like that. So I expect them to be drafting high and multiple receivers this year.
I certainly hope so. I would like to see, I mean, I could see double dipping at wide receiver and edge in this draft.
And
I like it that much. Yeah. If that's all they took, those 3 positions, I'm okay.
I'd be happy.
Chris, thank you for the super chat. We appreciate your support. As for all of you who have super chatted us, thank you very much. Do you guys think that the Chiefs will be interested in Brian Cook in the 3rd or 4th round? Dude is presence. He is presence. And I didn't even see this until I pulled it up.
That's awesome.
Chris, I like the way you think, Chris. Yes, I guarantee he's on the radar. Whether they have him as a 3rd or not, I do.
Yeah.
There are questions about his long speed and some of his processing. I understand there are people that have some concerns about it. I'm not sure after watching what Dan Sorensen's done the last 3 seasons that the Chiefs are one of them. So upgrade where you can upgrade is my thought. Thank you, sir. Rodir, hope you're doing well. Thank you for your super chat. I didn't see a comment, so hit another one or ping Aaron for me if you would. And folks, Aaron is in chat if you didn't see my earlier one. Tom Flora, hope you're doing well. I heard you saying yesterday that the Texans might be interested in trading their pick at 13 to us, and we might be able to get up there for Williams. Is there any truth to that? I have heard through sources who know the organization in Houston that they are considering moving out of one of their picks. I would think it'd be more likely be their top one at 3, because they're probably not going to take a quarterback, is what we're hearing, right? They seem happy enough with Davis Mills to kind of ride it out for a year and try to get Stroud next year, is my understanding. But if they were willing to move 13, I'd be surprised if they'd move it to an AFC team. But if they were, you got to give it a look. And I'm hearing that they're interested in moving, not necessarily to the Chiefs, but moving out of one of their picks. So, yeah, I mean, stranger things have happened with that organization and its leadership, so I can't say no. Chris, Ryan, I know you don't like George Karlaftis in the first round. True. If he is there at 30 and the Chiefs take him, will you be disappointed, or did he have similarities to Trey Hendrickson? I will be very concerned because I see bust potential written all over George Karlaftis. Mm-hmm. That's not to say that I'm rooting against him. I am not. I like what he brings. He's a stand-up dude. He's a leader in his locker room. He has a motor that won't quit, and those are admirable traits.
Yeah.
I have trouble projecting him to an impact player in the league, though. So, yes, I will be concerned about that, Chris. And if the league sees things the way that I see them, he will be there at 50. And if you've taken care of other business, I could see doing that.
The relentlessness, like the effort plays, it does translate a little bit to Trey Hendrickson, but Trey is a speed-based player. Don't forget that. Speed and technique are his things. So that's why he's been so good and so productive. People underrate his speed and his arms. They're not very long. They're kind of short armed, but he's able to technically use his hands well, and he takes advantage of what he knows best. I think he prepares very, very well and knows how to win and caters his game to that. Karlaftis is a power-based player that has a little bit of technique, no bend, and doesn't have that consistent get off around the edge. That's a problem.
Yeah. He may be a better 5 technique than he is an edge rusher.
That's true.
Honestly, I can see a team giving him a shot at a 3 tech too. And if that has happened and you've selected a player at 30 to be an edge and he ends up being a solid 3 tech, you lost that pick. That is a failure. It's the only way to put it. Patrick, biggest mistake the Chiefs can make during the draft: falling in love. I don't even care if it's Jameson Williams you fall in love with. Falling in love is a bad thing.
Yeah. Because it'll make you do some sick things.
just date around. Just date around. That's what I'm saying. Trade for Robert Quinn or Josh Allen from the Jags. What do you guys think? And love the streams. Glad you're here. Cheers to Denmark. Have a beer for me. I would not trade for Robert Quinn unless it's
Peanuts.
Bottom of the barrel.
Peanuts.
Yeah, like 7th. I'll give you 7th for it. Josh Allen's a different thing, but I see absolutely no way that the Jaguars would part with him. And from the guys that I know that cover the team, that are in the meeting rooms with them, they're not giving him up.
And they should.
If they can rebuild that defense, he's going to be the cornerstone. Exactly. Brian, thank you again. ISU fan here, rooted for KU. Do you go to camp? I do. I am there every year. You will see me there after the first preseason game, so I can see what changes. That is my time. If you guys would like to hang out and come hang out with us, I will be there. We'll see who else we can get up there at the same time. So, Brian, thank you again for the support. Appreciate it, Brian. Take this, would you?
What's up, Lucas? Any idea who would be returning kicks since Pringle and Hughes are gone? So there's going to be someone drafted in this draft. I think that's going to be your returner. I think that's probably what they're going to do. They're going to take someone with some upside that has return ability. I don't know. I'm not sure who it is. And they also have the possibility of bringing Maurice French back. I don't think he's on someone's practice squad, if I'm not mistaken. There's always possibilities for guys that can return. And there's always McColl. I think that they don't want to do that. That would be not the most ideal thing for them, but I expect them to draft a player that's going to be their kick/punt returner this year.
Yeah. And that's something to just keep an eye on everything that we talk about and parse out for you. Thank you, Chris. Jason Poe in the 7th, I'd put him at fullback. I didn't watch any of his film. Did you, Dan?
I didn't.
Okay. So, Chris, I'm going to take your opinion,
word for it.
and I'm going with it. So he can be FB2 because I'm not displacing Burton, but now I'm going to need them in a full backfield together. So in that case, I'm perfectly fine. PK, hope you're doing well. Rumor Brian Burns for both of our firsts, yay or nay? Whew. Both firsts. I got to get something back in terms of a selection, but Brian Burns is probably worth it in a vacuum, but he doesn't fit Spag's system.
No speed.
I'd love it.
I would too. This would be the Chiefs and Spag specifically saying, we got to try something different. I got to start adjusting to the times. And if he actually does that, I'm all in. But Spags doesn't care about any of that stuff, as he's shown us time and time again.
Nope. Crush the pocket.
Mm-hmm.
9 a.m. down here. Okay. Cheers. Cool. Alan's down under. So I'm glad you're doing well. Have a nice Monday morning. We'll try to keep you entertained for a little bit of it anyway. Keaton, if Jordan Davis falls and all the other first round options have exhausted, do we send it? I feel like this is a run stop ability, and the sheer size to free up Jones will give more flex on a cheap DE. I do have a first-ish round grade on him because I do feel that there's upside in his pass rush that he didn't have really an opportunity to show at Georgia. But I also question whether he was in shape to show that. I will say from what I've heard, when they got beat in the SEC championship, Davis was one of the guys that rallied that team to fix their crap and not allow them to be embarrassed again. So I like the leadership aspect, and he trained more specifically because they winded him pretty bad.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know, man. I don't know. I mean, Colin's going to take you to Jack Stack. Stuff's going to go wrong after that.
We have seen, Colin. We have seen it. And I'm not trying to hate on the guy. I love the guy. I love him.
I think do too.
His personality is phenomenal. He is who he is, and I absolutely love that. But you bring someone like Jordan Davis into Kansas City with all that barbecue, that dude is not going to stay in shape. And that's, again, it's not hating on the player.
No.
I'm trading down. If you've exhausted everything and the best player on your board is Jordan Davis, I'm trading down.
Okay. If he's the best player on your board and you have a grade on him that is worthy of that pick, then I'd take him. But I probably have him in, it's right about where they pick. So if they don't move, then I can live with it, because you're right. He's going to help you be in better third and long situations. And I think he can develop some pass rush. You just got to help him help himself. Yes, that's Aaron telling you, see, that I am a real person. I am not a robot. My wife might tell you otherwise. A lot of talk about moving up for DL or edge or wide receiver, but if one slips in the teens, any chance that they move up for an OT? I would like it to make sense in a line that's young but can't pay everyone. It's an interesting thought. It would have to be a really good match. There's only 3 first-round tackles on my board. And that's something that I need to tell you guys about. We do have a Substack that is going to be up by the end of the week. I didn't quite get it up ready for today, but we should see it the next few days, where Dan and I will talk about our boards. We did our grades, and we did the matrix, and we did the production. That all goes into it. But we're going to talk about our boards, about what we prefer, but what we project more. And I only have 3 tackles as day 1 guys.
Yeah,
Trevor Penning is a midday 2 guy.
He's pushing round 3. I'm just saying.
He's I don't know. I haven't finished that stack yet, but he might be in round 3 when it's all said and done. I don't think one of those guys will fall farther than 15-ish. And that still might be too expensive to go up for a tackle. Now, if Cross gets to 17, 18, maybe I start thinking about it. I like his athleticism. I think he would fit. I don't know. There are worse things than trading up to get a right tackle of the future when your current right tackle is mysteriously still injured, and I don't know his condition. Yeah. Chris, thank you very much. Appreciate the super chatting, and Hydra, as always, appreciate you. I have a strong feeling that Booth will be there at 29 and 30, and we will pass on him to draft a corner in round 7 instead. You may be absolutely right. And I will tell you this, if that happens, I will not throw a fit as much as I like the player on film, because they have his medicals and I don't.
Yeah.
And it is a significant concern. I have to say it's a legit thing that you might not be able to project him to a second contract.
It's tough. It's real tough. I love him. I think he's He's a top 3 corner in this entire draft, in my opinion. I actually have him over Sauce Gardner. I've readjusted my rankings, and I have Derek Stingley. I'm just to let you guys know my top 3. I've got Derek Stingley as number 1. I have Andrew Booth Jr. as the number 2 corner in this draft, and then I have Sauce right behind him.
Coming up next week, Ann and I argue for an hour about Derek Stingley because Dan's been watching the tape where he wore 24, and I've been watching the tape where he wore 7.
That's fine.
It's a pretty stark difference, I will say.
It's much like everyone watching George Pickens' freshman season and saying he's the best receiver in this class.
Absolutely. Okay, watch it all. Watch it all. That's all I'm saying. Okay. If not, I'm sure you guys already answered this, but I saw a tweet about the Vikings are looking to trade down. If so, would you trade up and would we draft Zion or Kobe? I will take Zion or Kobe. I like them both. And I think they're going to be closer together than everybody thinks. Zion's not a second-round player, you guys. He's not a third-round player.
He's not. He's a fourth-round pick.
He's got first-round athleticism.
Yeah.
So you get a bump out of that.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean you belong in the top 100. I think Kobe's right on the edge of that. I think Kyler Gordon is a borderline first-round player, to tell you the truth. But yes, going up to 12, I could definitely see that. Let's see. Tom, seems like we have a pipeline coming out of LSU here recently. Do you guys see us taking anyone from them right now? There's a guard that I like, Hinson, that I've only gotten to do 2 tapes on, so I haven't finished that out yet. I'm trying to think of who else.
There weren't a whole lot of draftable guys coming out of LSU this year outside of Stingley and some.
Yeah, there are other Ed Ingram. I actually like him better. He's the guy that I'm talking about.
Yeah.
But no, skill wise, I don't see a lot this year that I'm ready for. But day 3 pick of Hinson could go over well. I think Ingram might slide into day 2.
Yeah, I like Ingram quite a bit actually. I have him as his day 2 guard.
Okay,
so cool. I put in my notes day 2 guard.
That's the problem. He doesn't have the versatility to go out to tackle, so he's not a need for the Chiefs. So, but it would be good depth, and Hinton might be good depth there on day 3. Thoughts about Jermaine Johnson could be the best edge of the class when it's all said and done. He could be.
It's like 5 edges that could be the best edge, to be the best defensive end of this class. Like there's 5 of them.
Yeah, I mean, people who think that he wrecks everybody on film like he wrecked Penning at the Senior Bowl is wrong. He is a much more up and down player than what you saw at the Senior Bowl, because the tackle group of the Senior Bowl was not as good as they projected them to be. I'll tell you that. So, I have serious concerns. I've met with him in person. I think he's a little narrow in the shoulder. I think that leads to some shoulder girdle problems. That leads to some issues, especially if you try to long arm, which he does try to use. So I won't be surprised. I will definitely not be surprised if he's the 3rd or 4th when it's 3 years down the line too.
Yeah.
Thanks, Redhead. Javante, hope you're doing well. Thanks for the super chat, buddy. Glad you made it. I'm catching up. Keep up the good work. We'll definitely try, and thank you for the support, buddy. Very much appreciated. And you know what? We're always running behind, so you're fine. FLDB asked, thank you, Aaron. I appreciate you giving me this. When is the video going to go up? The members will get Aaron's video, the member meetup. He's got it uploaded. It should go up tomorrow night. Tuesdays when we try to do the member things. I do have to get the thumbnail and that stuff built, and I'm trying to get the Substack too. So it could slide to Wednesday, but it will definitely be up soon.
Yep.
Chiefs comments. Think Bolton being on the call today signifies that him as the leader on the defense going forward, or are you reading too much into it? I think they want him to be, and I think that was an opportunity to start that process.
I mean, you look at the roster on defense. He's the dude.
You can't rely on Frank. You can't put Frank in that position, right?
He's not going to be here anymore. This is last year. They said, we're going to restructure you because we have no bodies. We got none. So you're going to stay here. And they're trying to solidify him as their guy. And I believe that he's actually going to be a much more vocal leader this year, because you need somebody to take over the Tyrann Mathieu role. He came out and admitted that he was not playing as hard as he wanted or he could have last year. He legit said it. It's like, I wasn't doing it. So you need somebody like a Nick Bolton, Willie Gay. Those 2 guys are going to be your most outspoken players on defense, and they need to lead.
Agreed. I think Reed might be a guy that they try to check that out too as well.
Yeah.
I think it's going to take some time for him though. Julian, if we took the Pats draft spot, that's 21. Who's on the board? I think all the linebackers are on the board, every last one of them, including Devin Lloyd. I'm guessing that Dotson is on the board and Burks is on the board. And my gut says Olave, that London goes before him. But
I'm starting to think that Garrett Wilson might be there.
Really?
I'm starting to see some people. I mean, this is all just conjecture on my part. That
Right.
Olave is going to be the first Ohio State player taken, or his receiver anyway. And I think even there's going to be some hesitation on Drake London. I think that there could be some hesitation on this wide receiver group outside of Williams. When is it going to start? Like, I think that's right now is the question. When's it going to start after him? Because, I mean, I guess I could see the Saints taking a receiver, but I don't know. It could be any one of those guys. It could be Wilson. It could be Olave. It could be London right there at 21. Right now, I don't know. I could not tell you.
I think that I'm most scared of is that it's Karlaftis on the board, because I think all the top 4 edges will be gone. And I will be concerned if they start to look in that direction.
I'm just hoping that the top 3 or 4 defensive ends go in the first 12, and then the Ravens are like, well, let's take Karlaftis. That's what I'm hoping for.
We like George. Yeah, and then Jordan Davis falls a little bit farther. My big thing, the one that I'm hoping for, is if all the wide receivers go and all the edges, I'm hoping Devontae Wyatt's on the board when they pick, wherever it's 21 or 30 or 29 or whatever. I like him. It is what it is. Who could you live with if we traded down from 30 to 40 or 45?
Ebiketie.
Yeah.
At 40, I think I would still take Ebiketie at 40.
I have him lower than that. I have him right around the 50 pick. But yeah, I mean, that's not a huge reach. I could live with that. I could easily live with Pickens.
Yes.
You might be able to talk me into living with Christian Watson. He's not a first rounder, but at 45, I could deal with it.
Yeah, I mean,
It's
iffy. You guys know that I was like one of the first. I want him on this team. Type of when I saw that, when you see the athleticism and what he can do with the ball, I was like, yeah, go get him, Veach. First round, no. Now I'm just like, no. I've become so far against it because he's going to be so expensive. The draft capital. He's one of the most unpredictable players in this entire draft. I can't do it.
Well, Red Hood has the solution for Ebiketie. Just let him live with Tamba and learn his techniques and stuff. And that's fine. He's way more athletic than Tamba was coming out. He does not play with his leverage near as well. So he does have things to learn. And that's the problem with Ebiketie. And that's why I think we're both in that same range. Definitely day 2. And where on day 2 varies a little bit. But yeah, you're on top of it, Red Hood.
Hopefully he learns how to use his inside shoulder to set an edge.
Oh, yeah.
Dude, that stuff is so
There's
frustrating.
this thing called the run game. It still works, especially if you turn your back.
It's the worst thing ever. Just run at Ebiketie. He'll just throw his outside shoulder inside, and you can just watch him out.
He's been walking too much Frank Clark is what he's been doing, I'm telling you. Do you think the Chiefs are valuing coverage over pass rush approach this season on D? Also, percent chance that we make the trade for the Vikings. I actually don't. I think they're rounding out the pass coverage so they can go full force at the edge rush. And I'd put it at 20% for the Vikings.
Yeah, I think I'm probably more about 15 for that, but it's hard to know with the coverage versus pass rush thing. They seem to have valued neither the last couple of years, so who knows?
Yeah. It's all progress. All right, we're going to speed it up, folks. I'm getting a lot of the same questions, so don't be offended if your question doesn't come up on here. We'll cover your topic with everyone else is asking the same things. Van Griffin, nice to see you, Van. Thanks for all the hard work, you guys. How many actual players do we draft? Quality over quantity, vice versa. I'm hoping, and I'm taking the under at 8.5 so that they get quality. I don't need 10 or 11 players. I need guys that make an impact.
I'm taking 9. I think I'll take the over at 9.
You'll take the over? Okay. So we're close, but we're there. Yeah. Day, hope you're doing well. Thank you for the super chat. Appreciate your support as always. Always happy to hear Ryan Dan talk prospects. What are your thoughts on the tight end, Calcaterra? He was a Sooner, and then he transferred to Tulsa. I thought he went somewhere else. Okay.
Yeah, I played at SMU.
Yeah. Okay. No. Okay. That's where I was getting myself confused there. Think he fits the Chiefs, or will he be drafted? I think he will be drafted, and I think he could fit the Chiefs, but I don't think they should do it.
Here,
He's not.
I'll read you my little one-line summary of
Yes.
Grant Calcaterra, because that's what we did this for, to make it very easy. I've got him as a pass-catching tight end. You can use him multiple ways, meaning outside, in the slot, detached. Pretty much, he's not going to be a huge inline blocker type of player. Not his best attribute. Better in zone, finding spaces, physicality, man coverage just bother him. He can't really create separation on his own. Not going to make his name in the blocking, like I said, but you have something with an upside receiver at the NFL level.
So no grade 2.0, except hopefully he has the upside.
Hopefully.
So and that's not to be disparaging. I do like him. I like the kid from San Diego State as well, Bellinger. I see them as similar players as well, right? So, but the question is, are you giving up on Noah? You have Jody. You brought Bell back. Like you have a pretty full room at tight end. And I think there's a lot more questions than there are answers at the tight end as a group. So if you like him, go for it, especially on day 3. Thank you, Doug. Glad you're enjoying it. It's been a ton of work. I mean, Dan and EJ did a ton of work on this. It is not just me. I know in years past, it's been me doing this.
Ryan did a lot too. Don't let him throw himself under the bus here. He did a lot of work too.
I got to do some of it. The guy who never gets enough credit for any of it is Jeff Porter, because he does all the statistical research. Jeff is the man around here. And if you guys missed it, go check out the last page, because Jeff is in it. Everybody who helped him this year, he gets credit in the book this time, because I always leave that page out because I just forget to do it. So I wanted to make sure I got that done this year. Mark Murray, your thoughts on Jalen Watson? Underrated. I like him. I think that he can deal with sizable receivers. I think he's a little short on the long speed, but that's okay. I wouldn't put him in the top 75. I could see him sneaking into the bottom of round 3. I'm okay with that. But I think he is criminally underrated, to tell you the truth.
Agreed. I like his game.
Okay. Sorry to keep taking all these. Here, start with this.
No, you're good. What's up, Doug?
Okay, Doug said, oh, yeah, this isn't even a question, is it?
Yeah.
No. Single pick okay. You are greedy, Doug, and I like it. Here, there we go.
Perfect. Thank you, Primal. I heard Dan saying one of his Twitch streams that John Mechie is a guy that we could have in the second round. He is. And do you think he's a better McColl or a ceiling just like McColl? No. They're not the same players, in my opinion. Mechie is a route running extraordinaire. I think he can run everything in the route tree. That's something that I saw him do, not just this past year, but the year before, when he was the only receiver at Alabama. It was it. Like when he got hurt. Like Jalen Waddle got hurt, and Devontae Smith had some injuries too. Like he was the only dude at the end there playing. And he can run routes. He can run them. He can separate. The only thing is that he's going to have to learn how to deal with contact at the NFL level. At some point, got to figure it out. But I do have a very high grade on him. I think he's one of the best, most underrated route runners in this entire class.
I agree with you. And folks, you will see on the new Substack, I'm going to put some free stuff up there, and our boards will be free this year. Yeah. The Substack is a pay service that you get our intimate feelings about draft picks, is a good way to put it.
Yes.
But it will be behind the wall. It is something new and different we're doing. But I will tell you this, it will run down our position rankings as they go. And I have Mechie slightly ahead of Pickens, right behind Treylon Burks for me. And I have Burks outside my top 5, just so everybody's aware. That's gotten a lot of attention, but I don't know that everybody in Chiefs Kingdom cares.
So. Yeah, Mechie's my wide receiver 5 in this group.
Okay. Yeah, I have him at 7. Hi. Do you think Powell can still make the roster, Dan?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
I'm never going to stop believing until he's off the roster, guys. If you ever have a Powell question, my answer is probably yes.
What percentage of our roster is on 1-year deals? That's a very good question. I would have to look at it. Yeah, I mean,
there's a ton of guys that are just not on the roster anymore.
I could think of at least 7 contracts, so that's 14%. So it's a significant portion.
Me.
Where do you guys rank Bo Melton and Demario Dontario? Sorry. Bo, where do I have him?
I've got Bo in the 5th.
Yeah, I want to say he's like 13 for me.
Yeah, he's down. He's It's a gadget guy. That's what he is. Like, he's a gadget guy. Maybe he's somebody they look at taking a shot at as a return guy. I haven't seen Ontario Drummonds at all.
Oh yeah, okay. I have them both in the teens now that I look at it. Drummond higher actually, and the guy that nobody puts on there is Braylon Sanders, the guy who played with Drummond and caught passes with Matt Corral. I really like Sanders. He's got a lot of upside, and he gets zero pub. He's a day 3 guy, but I think he's a guy that could probably make some rosters. Can he make the Chiefs? It might be a stretch, but he can make an NFL roster. Henry Reed is awful. Mom on Niang's injury. True. I was reading that the wrong way, Cody. I apologize.
Yeah, you really set that up for failure, right?
I was feeling defensive there, evidently. Said there's no time on his return. Do we need a new right tackle? I played around with that. You guys saw in the last couple of mock drafts because, I think they need a backup swing tackle. And if they want to get a quality one, I like Abraham Lucas in that role as a right tackle. He can play left in a pinch if he had to, but I like him in that role. And I'll tell you this, if it's going to be a day 3 kind of selection, go get one of the athletes. Zach Tom is the best tackle as an athlete in this draft. And you guys know how Dan feels about Gadecki. I think he's a day 2 guy as well. That could fit as well. And I don't think that's indicting Lucas Niang. That's being smart about what you have and what you don't have.
Yeah. I'm a big Gadecki fan.
Yes, you are. I'm a fan too. I thought I was a big fan until I met you. So, hey, I know you guys want to hire one wide receiver in the first round, but I'm skeptical. I think our defense needs improving. Do we try 29-30 and hopefully get a good safety at least? I have concerns about Booth's injury. I have concerns about Elam's injury. But they both fit what they want to do. Elam a little more so in terms of the amount of man that he plays. But there's all kinds of guys at 50 that I think you'll have a shot at, including Brisker and Petrie, and then Cook later. I like all those guys. I don't think any of them should be in the first round. I see all kinds of craziness going on with them right now, but it's Dax Hill and Petrie are the 2 that I think can do what they need. But I've seen over both of them. I still have Hamilton over both of them. Yeah,
of course. I think that makes a lot of sense. They're going to get a safety in the first 2 days, in my opinion. Someone that can play slot corner and safety can be that third safety guy. So I'm hoping it's one of those 2 guys. I think Petrie and or Daxton Hill is going to be a Chief come 10 days from now.
Oh, good God. It's coming fast. I'm getting on a plane next week. Okay, here we go. We're going to wrap it up here, folks. Thank you, Whiskey Bravo. Appreciate you. Would you rather have Ajabo and Mafe in the first or trade up in the first for a wide receiver? How does KC view or balance the DE versus the wide receiver need? They need them both. They are 1A and 1B. There's not a 2 there, in my opinion. I would rather see them split it, trade up for something, and get a player that can get on the field right now. I think Mafe is right about, in terms of value, a little bit below where they draft. So if nobody falls in love and overdrafts him, he should be there.
Yeah, I agree. Go get the receiver. Go get him.
Hydra, thank you very much. Give me Booth and Dax Hill, and I'm happy. Hey, we're with you.
Yep.
Leon, thank you. Is it true that the path to the draft said that Jelani Woods ran 4.33 shuttle and a 6.95 3-cone faster than Kyle Pitts? I did not see that update. I will check it here while Dan answers the next question, though, Leon. And thank you for the support.
Yes, thank you. What's up, Chris? Thoughts on Zachary Carter out of Florida in the 4th? I didn't get his tape. I'm sorry, Chris. This has been a struggle for me this year. Let me see if I can find him on here somewhere. I don't know what position he plays, so it's not helping me out.
Who are you asking about?
Zachary Carter. Is he a linebacker?
He's a DT from Florida.
Oh, defensive tackle. Okay, that makes sense. Florida and defensive tackles kind of go hand in hand, don't they?
Right.
This name even sounds like it's from there. Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Chris. I don't have anything for you. I didn't get any look at him.
I did get a look at him, Chris. I do like his power. I think he's got a decent first step. In the 4th, I'm fine with it. I see people projecting him onto day 2, and I don't see that in particular. But yeah, in the 4th, I'm more than happy with it. Doug, thank you. Folks, if you would hit the thumbs up, that does help us and helps more Chiefs fans find us. Miss Holly, thank you for your support, Holly. As always. I'm bound and determined to meet Ryan this training camp. I look forward to it last year. Hey, we will make it work, and we'll make an announcement enough that we know. Let's see here. Would you talk about Chris's? And I'm still looking for Jelani Woods.
Thank you, Chris. Williams and Mafe in the 1st. Winfrey in the second, Maje and Calvin Austin in the third. How does that sound? So it's going to be hard for them to get Jameson Williams and Mafe in the first. If you're going to get Jameson, you're going to have to trade both of those first round picks, in my opinion, to go get him. And then I'm higher on Winfrey than I believe Ryan is. I think also if you can get Travis Jones over Winfrey in the second, go do that instead. He's a better run defender than Winfrey is. Maje is probably, I think, seeing at a heavier weight was encouraging for me, and I would be more comfortable with him in the late third there. And then Calvin is a tough dude to figure out. I think you can get him if he's going to be a third round pick. You have to kind of devote him some to be your 100% return guy off the bat. That's what he has to be, and hope that he can work his way on the field. But there's some good things here and some reaches. I think Winfrey at 50 is probably asking a little much for him at this point. But I do like Maje and Austin if you're dedicating those specific players to roles in the third round.
Yeah, I like that. I can deal with that. To the Woods question, yes, Woods did beat Kyle Pitts in the 3-cone, 712 versus 695. They were nearly identical in the short shuttle, which is really how tight ends are going to win at the line of scrimmage to get loose in the first place. But yes, that is the comparison. Matthias, thank you very much. Appreciate you. Booth, Elam, Hall, Thomas, Pierce, Shakir in the first, realistic. And would you like that? In the first 4, Booth and Elam, Hall, and my guy Cam Thomas. Hi. She's got it. And then Pierce and Shakir. Yes, I could deal with that in the first 4 rounds, but they have 2 more picks in those first 2 rounds, so there would be room for that. The only problem there is I want a little bit more. If you're going to double dip, I want more edge rusher myself, Mr. Wild.
Yeah, I do too. And if you're getting a receiver, I don't think either of them are going to see the field for the first year. I think Pierce maybe as your X, but I don't necessarily think Shakir's got a spot. I think Juju Smith-Schuster feels what he does. So
I actually think he can go out and play the X, but it's got to be in a usage that works for him. It's not beat him up and be physical. Night. Thank you, Thies. Appreciate you. Dan, NFL analyst Charles Davis compared Mafe to Chris Clark. Is that an accurate assumption?
Chris Clark.
I don't see that at all.
No, I don't think so.
Wow, I'm gonna have to go look at the context of that, Dan.
Me too, because I don't really know what he's like. If you're just, I need to see why he thinks that.
Yeah,
because I just don't get. I don't see what he's trying to do there.
Mafe's quite a bit more athletic, in my opinion, than I remember Clark. But maybe I'm misremembering. I don't know. We'll try to look at that and see what happens. Thank you, though. Time stacks. If Williams is drafted, do you believe he will be 100% when he's recovered? And is it likely that he could be injury-prone player? He hasn't been injured in the past, but he didn't get a lot of time at Ohio State. Everything that I've heard is that he has a super clean ACL tear, and generally those, once they're healed, they are golden. So you should be good. I don't think it's a concern. Would you give Miles Boykin a look?
I mean,
probably not.
You have Brandon. Corey Coleman on the roster right now, so I mean they're the same player in my eyes. I just don't really see. And Josh Gordon.
That's probably fair. Yeah, that's probably fair. Miss Holly, thank you for the support. How many running backs would you draft, and what pick numbers would they be?
None.
I could draft one, and his number would have to start with a 200 type number.
Yeah. Okay. You're right. I think that you got 4 7th-round picks. Why not spend one
absolutely
running back?
Yeah, I just with Rojo in town, like I don't think that's going to be a high priority. But they're always looking for UDFA types or low 7th rounders that could come in and compete. So I'm fine with that too. Thank you, Miss Holly. Big Dave, I saw a scouting report that said Nick Benito can offer some coverage ability in an off-ball LB position. Yes, he's pretty good at a curl drop. He can get to the flat. He's okay. I mean, he's a 3-4 outside linebacker. Like, he's a speed rusher that doesn't bring a whole lot of power to the table. So yeah, that makes perfect sense. I don't think I'd line him up like that because he's used to playing forward. He could drop to a spot and then react, but like if you ask him to turn and run, I'm not seeing that.
Yeah, no, I don't think so. He's probably definitely more of a spot kind of guy, like you said. Just get every once in a while, get him in his zone a little bit like that because he's athletic, can move in space, but you're not going to ask him to carry a tight end. You better not ask him to carry a tight end.
This question is specifically for you, Dan.
Oof.
Now that Avery's out of the room, you don't have to cuss. It's okay.
So thank you, the last cheese ball. Why is Sky Moore getting so much love? I don't get it. You think he's a third round player. So if you have the draft guide and you've seen the wide receiver rankings, those are being updated. I don't know what happened, but my Sky Moore grade did not translate to the sheet. So one, don't worry. I don't hate him.
It will be there.
It will be there. I don't hate him. I enjoy what he does. I have some questions about his ability to win on the outside down the field in the NFL. But he's going to, day one, be a guy who can create underneath and create intermediate immediately. He can do all of that right now. He is that good in terms of the releases, the hand usage, and fighting through contact. He's not like the best yet guy in the world, in my opinion. I think that's being overrated in his game. I don't see that jitterbug type of movement and the vision to be able to create on a consistent level. But I do think he's going to be a chain moving slot player day one.
He's McCole Hardman with a lot more experience coming out of college.
Not that fast though.
Actually, they timed really, really close.
I know they timed. The game speed is not even remotely close, in my opinion.
Yeah,
like,
no, I agree.
McCole's game speed is Sky's not there.
Gotcha. Yeah, and what I saw of him too, I didn't think so either. Yeah. I see him creeping into the second as a possibility, but certainly in the third, I'm perfectly fine with that.
Yeah.
Thank you, Cheeseball. Thank you, Chase. I know y'all were talking could fill the Dirty Dan role. What about Yusuf Crocker from Kentucky? I watched him quite a bit at the Senior Bowl. I don't know how you feel, Dan. In fact, you should probably say your opinion first.
I don't have one. I apologize.
Okay, cool. Even better. He's a teams guy. He is not somebody that can start for me. Okay. I think he puts out good effort. I think he has enough knowledge of the game that he can make an impact on teams, and maybe he can work his way into a role. But I think he's less of a player coming out of college than Armani Watts was.
Okay.
Dave, do you still think that Kobe could play right away? I do think Kobe Bryant can play right away. On this team, he will compete with Baker out the gate right now.
Yes, very much so.
Keaton, speaking of double dipping, Drake London in the first and Thornton in the fourth. What do you got, Dan?
I wouldn't take two players that play almost the exact same way in this draft. London is not, he can run routes. He can create separation in college. I have some questions about it in the NFL, but he can make up for it with what he does in other areas. I don't think Thornton can play. I'll be very honest. I don't think he can play. And that's coming from somebody we've seen, Denzel Mims, Corey Coleman, Tyquan Thornton, all be the exact same players, basically the exact same players in the NFL. They can't do anything. So I'm out on Thornton because I don't think he's going to be able to play in the NFL.
And it'd still take adaptation from Patrick Mahomes in terms of trust. I don't see it happening either. Gary, no, I don't think they do. I don't think it's worth it. Would you rather teams why would other teams trade down to our sevenths? They wouldn't. The sevenths would be sweeteners for other deals. Yeah. Like no one's coming down there on purpose. That's what you throw in when, hey, I need a little more value from you so you can go from 145 to 112. And they're like, yeah, give me a sweetener, and that's what you throw in is the sevenths. Thank you, Hydra. Is there a good LB that can play DE? Leah Chanel, Brandon Smith. Brandon Smith's better at coverage than he is at rushing. Chanel's good between the tackles, but he's not a pass rusher. I don't see his hand usage translating at all. I'm trying to think. I mean, honestly, Devin Lloyd's pretty good pass rush skills.
Yeah, that's probably what it is. Like, he's the one guy that could like legitimately play as a defensive end, but most of these guys are either coverage players or they're run stuffers. Which in Brandon Smith, coverage player, Chanel's a run guy who is a good blitzer because he can just scream downhill. He can absolutely scream downhill, but he's not going to put his hand in the dirt and play defensive end. So
I'll tell you what, though, Quay Walker can rush off the edge from a stand-up position. I'm comfortable with that. He doesn't do it a lot, but he was decent at it. I think there's potential there.
Mm-hmm.
Channing Tindall the same way. Christian Harris the same way. Like Harris in space very much, but I do like him coming off the edge as like a hangover pass rusher. So much like you saw Reggie Ragland do a few years ago, except Harris is a more explosive athlete. So I could see that.
Yeah, there's Lucetta as well.
Frey. Oh, yeah. I always forget about him. Yeah. Because he is such a tweener, folks.
Yeah.
I love George, elite ball skills, in-ear adjustments, and beautiful hands catch radius. Just worried about his press and hitch and possibly character issue. Definitely character issue. And thank you, Frey. Appreciate you. And I just didn't see him get off of the line that well in the last 2 years.
No, there's a lot of guys out there that think he's the best receiver in this class based off of things we haven't seen in 2 years, unfortunately. Actually, 3 years, if we're being
he's the
honest.
offensive version of Derek Stingley to me.
Oh, see, I don't get that. I've seen Derek actually play well, like play legitimate. For me, it was more
in the last 2 years.
Yes, I've seen him play better than George Pickens did last year. And
fair,
but the problem is the medicals again. Is Derek Stingley healthy? Like, is George Pickens healthy? We don't know.
Right, he may not be totally recovered when we did see him. I mean, there's a reason they only targeted him like 9 times.
Yeah, and he didn't do anything special to get that deep ball outside of dive for it. He just ran by a guy who was standing still. He wasn't even playing. Like, the quarter wasn't doing anything. So
it was a nice dive.
It always is. He always gives up the body.
Yeah. Viable day 2 corners if we go wide receiver DE in round 1. Who do you like, Dan? We're going to wrap it up here, folks.
You know, where is my corner sheet really quick? I apologize. I'm holding this up.
No worries.
So day 2
going to wrap it in a minute, folks. Go
day
ahead.
2 guys that I like. I think Cam Taylor-Britt is one of the guys that probably fits what they want to do on day 2. Martin Emerson I think has some upside with the way he plays. Day 2, McCreary, I would love. I think McCreary is a great player, but he's not going to get drafted by the Chiefs because he's got 29-inch arms.
28 and 3/4.
20. Yeah, it's don't bet on the outliers, guys. And I know that there's a lot of fans of Marcus Jones out there. I know there's a lot of fans. Love his play style. Love it. That dude is not going to be able to live in the NFL with the way he plays. I would love it if he could, but he can't.
I agree. And 3 more: Kyler Gordon, Kobe Bryant, Jalen Watson. I think they're all day 2 guys.
I think Kyler Gordon's going in the first round.
He might. Yeah, no, but I'm not willing to bet on that yet.
Yeah.
It is lying season still.
Yeah, right.
Jeremy, can you remember your draft grade for Bolton? Yeah, I had him just straddling it. I had him as a 3rd. I had him in the 60 to 70 range, so the beginning of the 3rd round.
Yeah, I think I had him around the same area. And I know that there's a lot of talk about my reaction to that draft pick. And I just want to say, he was what Ryan and I thought he was. Let's just point that out before we go back and see the overreaction that I had. Because I did. I overreacted.
But kudos to him. He has played up to his full potential that I thought he had, and he has a chance to surpass it for sure.
He does.
Heads up for next year's draft, Jordan Addison, the out of Pitt. Okay. I like that.
He is a jitterbug that plays like AJ Brown. He's not lying.
I like it. Folks, that's going to wrap us up. Look for the Locked On NFL Draft Show because that's coming up next. It should be out later tonight. Go get the draft guide. You want it. It has all of Dan's work, my work, EJ's work in terms of our film grades. And we just worked that into the full matrix along with the athletic matrix and the playmaker index.
I do think there is a super chat you may have missed from Tom.
Oh, let me know. From Tom Flora?
Yep.
Okay. Well, then I'm going to have to go do that. The code over there. I want to make sure you guys get the code. It's Rogue. It's RGR22AM at rogueapc.com. Don't be bashful. Use that thing.
Use it.
And thank you for checking that, Dan, because I had missed that. Other day, you mentioned some players from Missouri are worth a pick. Who were they and what round could they potentially go? It was a Caleb the corner, who I think is a fourth-ish kind of guy, and Beatty, the running back, who I think is probably fifth, maybe sixth. I think they're both draftable easily. And so for you Mizzou fans, I think you could end up having one of them. I will say this too. The running backs are so hit or miss.
Yeah.
You could see him fall to a UDFA and he will be a priority one. You could still see him in Kansas City as well, even if he doesn't get drafted there. That's where we're going to wrap it, folks. Thank you for your time. Thank you for being here tonight. Dan, thank you for all of your work as well.
Every single day. Don't forget, we got videos coming out every day this week, guys. Every day.
Yes. And I had a nice conversation with Dane Brugler. You guys are going to see that here on the channel as well. Yeah, it was tight on time. It's not
2 years in a row,
right?
2 years in a row.
Yeah, it was very quick. Let me put it that way. But you guys will see some small chunks of it spread out through the channel here coming up to the draft. So be ready for that. Thank you for your time. Thank you for all your super chats and your support tonight. Check out the draft guide